Welcome back to the 2024 edition of Breaking the Chase. In the previous episode covering the 2023 season, William Byron mounted a late season charge while others around him collapsed, and he managed to lock up the championship a week early. But in 2024, there were many headlines coming in. Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman returning to full-time action, a loaded rookie class, Kyle Larson doing the double, the Brickyard returning, and Iowa finally coming to the Cup schedule. So with all that being said, let's take a look at the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series season with no playoffs. In the opening 6 races, we had 5 different winners. Defending champion William Byron picked up right where he left off, winning the Daytona 500 and then winning 5 weeks later at COTA. At Atlanta, Daniel Suarez claimed his second career win and the closest 3-wide finish in NASCAR history. Kyle Larson would get his first win of the season at Las Vegas. Christopher Bell would win the race at Phoenix by the largest margin of victory in the next-gen car. And Denny Hamlin would win a chaotic race at Bristol. After the first 6 races of the season, sophomore driver Ty Gibbs led the standings by 4 points over teammate Martin Truex Jr. with finishes of 17th, 10th, 5th, 3rd, 9th, and 3rd. In the next race at Richmond, Gibbs would have a mediocre day, while his teammate Truex would dominate but lost on a controversial late race restart, relegating him to 4th. But he would gain the points lead by 10 points over Gibbs. At Martinsville, Truex had a mediocre day and finishing in 19th, but was still able to hang on to the points lead by 4 points over another teammate, Denny Hamlin. At Texas, Truex was having another rough weekend, barely being in the top 15 all day, and this was a prime opportunity for Hamlin to take the point lead. But that opportunity would be wasted.
Into 3.
Clear? He's clear.
Clears, and around goes Hamlin in the wall. Denny Hamlin crashes.
Turn 4.
Before Elliott makes it to the white flag, so we will re-rack and do it again.
Hamlin ended the race in 30th and was now down in 6th. Meanwhile, Truex, having a back-to-back mediocre weeks, cost him the point lead and was now in 2nd, 4 points behind new leader William Byron. At Talladega, Byron avoided the last lap wreck and managed to finish 7th, while Truex finished 11th, and the gap was extended to 7 points. At Dover, both drivers were having solid days, up in the top 5 and top 10, but some late race shenanigans would take out William Byron.
All but clear. I think he's going to clear him off at 2.
I think you're right, Clint.
Trouble off turn 2.
Big wreck.
Around goes Wallace. And one car hard into the inside wall with Bowman.
But that's Byron. That's William Byron, guys. Gets worse. Bell is torn up again.
Byron finished the race in 33rd and gave the lead back to Truex, who finished 3rd and was now 10 points above new 2nd place Chase Elliott. At Kansas, both drivers had great days, with Elliott finishing 3rd and Truex in 4th. And a third of the way through the season, Martin Truex Jr., the guy who had a historic collapse the year prior, was now looking for redemption in his retirement tour. Chase Elliott returning with a vengeance, and Kyle Larson, an erratic driver, looking for his 2nd championship. At Darlington, disaster would strike for the contenders.
3 wide for 3rd.
Yes, sir. Here comes William Byron on that inside. They squeeze him. Truex almost wrecked. Blading in the wall. They're wrecking, guys.
And they pile up accordion style behind him. Caution waves.
I think.
Let's hear what the 5 has to say.
Oh, he's around. Left rear.
Larson in the wall.
Left rear went off the bead. Loose, or excuse me, flat tire.
And that will bring out a caution at lap 254.
Get it fired up and get stuck. It brought right back in here. Leaders just middle 1 and 2.
Larson spun himself out and finished the race 34th and was now 5th in points, and while Truex's accident seemed minor, Truex had some aero damage that he never recovered from and ended the race 25th and was now 4 points behind Chase Elliott, who had a quiet day finishing 12th. At the rain-shortened Coke 600, Chase Elliott had yet another solid day, finishing 7th while Truex finished 12th, and the gap was increased to 9 points. At Gateway, Truex had some mechanical issues early, resulting in him putting around in the 30s all day, and he would eventually finish 34th and was now 4th, 29 points behind. Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin would come into the picture and finish 2nd and was now just 8 points behind Elliott. But at Sonoma, 2nd place driver Denny Hamlin would have an early exit.
Yeah, I'd say the 2nd block he probably hits him a little harder.
Whoa, Denny Hamlin's blown up at the start-finish line.
Inside.
Well, you just don't see that very often. That's a big grenade. Makes me think maybe a missed shift or something. You never know. That's obviously.
That's where Kenny Schrader would have said one of them important pieces, bro.
Hamlin finished 38th and was now 43 points behind Elliott, who finished the race in 4th. At the inaugural race in Iowa, Chase Elliott had a solid day, finishing 3rd, while Hamlin had a mediocre day, finishing 24th. And that put William Byron in the 2nd place slot, but was now a whopping 51 points behind Elliott. At the chaotic Loudon race, Elliott finished 18th, and at the halfway point of the season, Ross Chastain would be the driver in 2nd, but he was a whopping 55 points behind. Chase Elliott, while not being flashy and only having one win, was super consistent, and this allowed him to have a stronghold on the championship. At Nashville, Chastain was in the mix late in the race, and while not having the speed to win the race, it looked as if he was going to come home a solid 2nd place and gain a chunk of points on Elliott. But a late race caution would end his championship hopes.
It is overtime, presented by Credit One Bank as they come into the restart zone. Hamlin on the inside, Chastain on the outside. Green flag back in the air. A big push by the 5, and up the racetrack, he catches the 1. Chastain into the wall. Big contact, caution comes out again.
After all of the chaos was sorted, Elliott came home 18th and was now 43 points above new 2nd place Tyler Reddick. At the Chicago street race, Reddick finished the race 2nd while Elliott finished 21st, and the gap was decreased to 24 points. At Pocono, Reddick finished 6th while Elliott finished 9th, and the gap shrunk slightly to 21 points. At NASCAR's return to the Brickyard 400, Reddick finished 2nd while Elliott finished 10th, and the gap was now 12 points. At Richmond, Reddick finished 3rd while Elliott was once again trailing and finished 9th, and the gap was now just 6 points, and the championship battle was heating up. At Michigan, Reddick would finally get a win, while Elliott got caught up in some last lap shenanigans and finished 15th. And now, with just 12 races left, Tyler Reddick and Chase Elliott were in the middle of a massive championship battle. At Daytona, both drivers were caught up in big ones. Reddick finished 28th while Elliott finished 36th, and the gap extended to 19 points. At Darlington, Reddick would be battling illness, but despite this, he managed to still extend the gap over Elliott with a 10th place finish, while Elliott finished 11th, and the gap grew slightly to 21 points. At Atlanta, Reddick finished 6th while Elliott finished right behind him in 8th, and the gap was now 23 points. At Watkins Glen, Chase Elliott was able to stop the bleeding with a 19th place finish while Reddick finished 27th, and the gap shrunk to 15 points. At Bristol, Chase Elliott finished 2nd while Reddick had a mediocre day, barely being in the top 20 all day and ended up finishing 20th. And this handed the points lead to Chase Elliott by 2 points. At Kansas, Elliott had another solid day finishing in 9th, while Reddick finished 25th. And with 6 races to go in the season, Elliott has taken back the points lead, and to be honest, the championship fight was shaping up to be an all-time classic, with both drivers trading blows. But with 6 races left, it was time to decide the champion. At Talladega, Elliott would get caught up in what ended up being the largest wreck in NASCAR history and finished 29th, while Reddick finished 20th, and the gap came down to just 8 points. At the Roval, trouble would strike early for Tyler Reddick.
On a variety of circuits, the 21-year-old in his rookie season, there he is there. Somebody is around. And the 3 of Austin Dillon. 45 of Reddick. That was who we were talking about. Nosed in behind him, gives up a ton of positions. The 3 of Austin Dillon trying to get refired. He's able to do it. Oh. Got into the back of Bubba Wallace. That checked him up, and then Alex Bowman got into the back of the 3 and got him spun around. Let's talk more about Reddick with Marty.
The damage does not look bad for Tyler Reddick, but he said he thinks he might have a flat right rear tire. Also, maybe the right rear toe link, he said, might be broken as well. So Reddick's going to come down pit road. They're going to assess the damage, Steve. That looked fairly innocuous, the contact for Tyler Reddick, but it looks like there's more damage specifically on the right rear of the car for the regular season champion. There he comes down pit road. When they get here, Steve, I'll let you kind of diagnose what's going on, but he said something is wrong with the right rear.
Despite all of the troubles he endured, Reddick would show a lot of fight and resiliency and came back to finish 11th. And while the gap did grow to 13 points, it could have been a lot worse. However, at Las Vegas, it got much worse.
Whoa, look out! Elliott's gone! Keselowski, Reddick, 12 drivers in this wreck, and the car goes over! Tyler Reddick has flipped!
Yep, I'm good.
After the race, Elliott still had the point lead, but it was only 6 points over new second place driver Christopher Bell and 14 points over Reddick. At Homestead, Miami, Tyler Reddick would get a little Mahomey.
That looked a little Mahomey.
And that is sort of what we see out of Patrick Mahomes.
And pull off some late race heroics to win the race and was now third, just 6 points behind Chase Elliott, who finished 5th. Meanwhile, Christopher Bell finished 4th and was now just 5 points behind in second with 2 races to go. At the penultimate race of the season at Martinsville, the contenders would run into trouble.
Contact with the 51, but not because of anything the 51 does. Watch this. He's just spinning out, and then he collects Corey LaJoie. That is not something we expected. I thought the 20 car would be marching forward, but he has been struggling with his race car. Marty, what you got on Tyler Reddick?
Boy, his day has gone from bad to worse. Yes, he is in the garage area. He says, we have a fire somewhere. He also has no brakes. This is him trying to come to pit road a moment ago. His pit stall is just to the left, and there he goes by. Oh, man, he had to dodge his pit crew there because he had no brakes. Couldn't stop Reddick getting out quickly because he thinks there's something on fire inside the 45 car.
Reddick had a brake failure, finishing 34th. Christopher Bell spun early and never recovered and managed to only get 18th, but was later dropped to 22nd due to some wall riding. Heading into the finale, all Elliott had to do was finish 21st, and if Reddick were to win, Bell had to finish 11th or worse and Elliott had to finish 35th. But this scenario is highly unlikely. And well, at the finale, Elliott and Bell ran in the top 10 all day, and at the finish, Bell came home 5th and Elliott would finish 8th. And Chase Elliott would come home the 2024 Cup Series champion. So in 2024, Chase Elliott would win his second championship in 3 years, and it would have also been Rick Hendrick's 4th consecutive championship, and this would have been HMS's 16th championship all time. What a feat. Anyway, this season in my opinion was the best of the 2020s. It truly had everything. Wild finishes, underdog moments, a pretty compelling points battle, and some of the best overall racing we have ever seen. 2024 will forever go down as one of my favorite seasons, aside from the real life championship. Speaking of that, I have always said that the driver that wins under the format in place deserves the title, but this one is kind of hard for me to accept. This was, statistically speaking, the single worst championship winning season of all time, and the fact that we've gotten the 2 worst of them in back-to-back seasons is unreal. Something just needs to change. Anyway, for Chase Elliott, this would be his second championship in 3 years, and I've got to say, this one is kind of underwhelming. Now before all the Elliott fans come at me, I did not say it was bad, but for much of the year, it seemed like he was a 7th to 13th place merchant. Now I am not saying that this is a bad thing. I mean, he was really solid and consistent all year, and he deserves to be rewarded for it. Now I got a lot of comments saying that I hate Chase Elliott. I don't hate him at all, and this post I made seemed as if I painted it that way, when I said he was closer to Bowman than he was to Larson. Now I don't think Bowman's bad, I think he's easily a top 12 to 15 driver, and I think Chase is the 6th to 10th best driver. Not a bad thing, and I think if Elliott won the championship this year, it would have been a great story. The defending champion missing part of the season with an injury, and then returning the next year and winning the championship. A great story it would have been, but unfortunately, we never got it. Now the biggest what if of the entire season has to be Kyle Larson. There were so many blown opportunities. The spin at Darlington, missing the Coke 600, wrecking at Iowa, overstepping at Chicago, pushing too hard at Michigan, the blown tire at Kansas, pushing unnecessarily hard at Miami. All of these things were what cost Larson the title under this format and a shot at the title in real life. Now I rate Kyle Larson really highly, but a lot of the time he oversteps and it has cost him a lot of races. All of the incidents I just mentioned happened in races where Larson easily had one of the best cars. Kyle Larson is without a doubt one of the best drivers in the world, but sometimes he just can't get out of his own way. Also, what the hell was up with all the William Byron hate this year? When I was making this video and tallying the points throughout the year, he never dropped out of the top 5. Once the entire season. Like Eric Estep would drop him down his power rankings because he would finish 11th to 13th some weekends. No hate to Eric, absolutely love him, one of the OGs. Him and a lot of others ripped on him and said he was being mid. But when Chase Elliott did it, it seemed that it was seen as consistent, making the most of every weekend, doing the best he could. What a load of Byron has established himself as an elite driver in the Cup Series, and everyone needs to start recognizing that. Another thing, a lot of people ask me why I don't use stage racing. It's because I absolutely hate it. It inflates on how good the drivers actually do. A big part of NASCAR is executing an entire race. Now let's say I'm a driver, and I win the first 3 stages of the Coke 600. Well, that's 30 points, and even if I finish dead ass last, I still receive 31 points, which is probably better than the 20 to 25 drivers that finish ahead of me. If drivers can't execute an entire race, then where they finish is the amount of points that they deserve. It's as simple as that. And there's also the wrinkle that someone on an average race weekend can finish 14th and still gain more points than the winner, which is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so I have some big news for the channel. Starting this Monday, the 27th of January, I'm going to have new content on this channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Mondays will continue to have these stat comparisons on my community tab, and they will also be on my Instagram Reels. I'm also going to try to have a short made every Wednesday, and I actually have a short series in the works, so watch out for that. And this channel will return to having a video posted every Friday. I know for basically the past year I have had it every other Friday, but now it is going to return to every Friday. And I also have another announcement. There will be a new series coming out in 2 weeks. I am really excited for it. It's been a year in the making, and I am absolutely thrilled for it to finally come to fruition. So look out for that, and please support this new series. I worked really hard on it, and I hope it does well. Well, I've kept you guys here long enough, and you're probably tired of me yapping. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thank you to my channel members. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time for another video.